Today, the President of the United States was accused of rape again.
With the fall of Hollywood's less than perfect gentlemen, such as disgraced movie mogul, who first comes to mind, Harvey Weinstein, who is currently serving a total of 39 years in prison for sexual exploitation of female actors, which went on for so long due to the hubris of his prominence that made him think he hung on the moon, and the most notable Pied Piper of R&B, R. Kelly, who is about to be trapped in a prison which is not a far cry from his trapped in the closet for 31 years as he is serving concurrent sentences of the New York and Chicago prison sentences. The dismantling of the sexist order came under the auspices of the fourth wave of feminism, which propelled the movement #MeToo. The #MeToo era helped herald a new legislation, albeit in New York by Governor Kathy Hochul, who signed into law the Adult Survivors Act. The Adult Survivors Act is a retrogressive law sought to open a one-year window to those over the age of 18 and are survivors of sexual abuse who would face the legal burden, as it would be their onus to present irrefutable proof in a court of law of their abuse or assault. The law is retrogressive as it overrides time, as it panders to claims that are deemed outside the realms of the statute of limitations. The act became effective on November 2022. In signing the bill into act, Governor Kathy stated that today we take an important step in empowering survivors across New York to use their voices and hold the abusers accountable. She continued to aptly state that the fight against assault requires us to require the impact of trauma within our justice system. The Adult Survivors Act paints quite the picture. While some pictures are worth 1,000 words, others are incriminating, and the burden of their words carry prison sentences or $1 million court award. This is the story of a woman who gave her former president sleepless nights. Between the fall of 1995 and the spring of 1996, E. Jean Carroll, who eked out a living as a media personality and had a niche, a small hit show, Ask E. Jean TV show that was aired on America's Talking Network that was started by Roger Ailes, was no stranger on America's Pastimes, that is the Today Show, and also the Good Morning America, in which her gift or gab was cherished. One evening, she left work and decided to splurge at a luxury department store on Fifth Avenue in New York City, which she was a regular shopper, that is the Bergdorf Goodman. She scoured the whole luxury store, however, she couldn't find anything that resonated with her taste. She resigned to live in Bergdorf empty-handed. As she was on her way leaving the store through the revolving side door on 58th Street, a young Donald J. Trump made his way through the same door. Trump, seemingly starstruck, put up his hand to stop her from exiting and exclaimed, "Hey, you're the advice lady," and in a playful banter, she responded, "Hey, you're the real estate tycoon." He would thereafter interest her by pandering to her strength, which is giving advice, by asking her to help him buy a present for an anonymous girl. Carol tapped into her strength and advised him to purchase a handbag. However, he dismissed the idea, so she chose a least considered grand gesture, a hat. Trump walked over, going straight for a fur hat, to which Carol channeled her inner animal rights activism and told him that no woman should wear a dead animal on her head. Trump would make another attempt at guiding the conversation. He suggested that they buy lingerie instead. They rode up the escalator to the lingerie department. When they arrived, she argues it gave her an eerie feeling as it was peculiar. There was no one in sight, including the sales attendant. Trump got intoxicated by a see-through bodysuit in lilac gray. He snatched the bodysuit and implored her to try it on. She punted back his request and asked him to try it on. She playfully teased that it was his color. He eventually wore her down and escorted her to the dressing room. Upon arrival, she found it odd that the dressing room was open and unlocked. As she was trying on the bodysuit, she had the door closed and she had chills run down her spine. Nothing would prepare her for what would happen next. Donald Trump had entered the female dressing room and lunged towards her, pushing her against the wall, bruising her hair and passionately kissing her. She shoved him and a scuffle ensued. He seized both of her hands and pushed her up against the wall, bumping her head again a second time. He would thereafter force himself on her. She tried to stamp his foot with her heel. She thrust her knee high enough to push him off, and she managed to escape. She ran out of the dressing room, out of the Bergdorf store, and onto Fifth Avenue. She approximates that the attack lasted 2 to 3 minutes. Once she left the Bergdorf store, she confided in one of her friends, Lisa Bernbach, and recounted her sordid ordeal. Her friend labeled the experience. She stated, "He Her friend Lisa implored her to go to the police and offered her company. However, Carol, being in self-denial, remained recalcitrant and expressed she did not want to involve the police. She reiterated in a self-soothing manner that the ordeal lasted just a few minutes and it was over. She urged her friend Lisa to swear an oath of silence over the ordeal. Over the next few days, she confided in her second friend, a New York City journalist and news anchor, Carol Martin. This time, the severity of the assault was just sinking in. However, unlike her friend Lisa, the trajectory her friend Carol Martin took was regressive. She mongered fear. She advised her she should just forget it and tell no one. In no convoluted words, she made it clear that if she reported him, that Trump has 200 lawyers, he will bury you. This doesn't make her friend, Carol Martin, a bad friend. It's just that society has conditioned women to cower against patriarchy. The words of her friend, Carol Martin, helped cast E. Jean Carroll into a silent movie where she would replay the sordid ordeal while self-deprecating herself, blaming herself for entertaining him by going lingerie shopping, calling herself names such as stupid, and putting on a brave facade and developing a sense of humor as a coping mechanism. While sometimes she considered coming forward, she understood society was regressive and denigrated women, labeling assaulted women as spoiled goods, and would ask questions such as, "Why didn't you scream?" or "Why didn't you come forward immediately?" All which exhibit a lack of emotional intelligence. In her words, she painfully painted the picture that following the assault, she felt the music had stopped and the lights had gone out. In the next 20 years, she buried her emotions and her head into a rewarding career in which she built a loyal audience, which has been touted as the longest still active advice column, the Ask E. Jean, in the renowned Elle magazine. In her advice column, she gave copious amounts of advice to women who were undergoing harassment and assaults. She would advise them to contact rapist crisis centers, join a support group, and 3, learn how to earn a living. During the 2016 presidential election, she saw scores of women reveal that Trump had been inappropriate and had assaulted them. In equal measure, she saw the gaslighting and the vitriolic attacks that were launched upon those women, some were even on the national stage. This would be the year that all she ran from would finally catch up with her. She grappled with coming forward, however, her mother was in the transition stage of gaining her wings. She decided to honor her in her last days, as coming forward would spring her into the spotlight. On October 11th, 2016, her mother transitioned. This sparked Carol to write a book. In 2017, New York Times published intricate details into Harvey Weinstein's harassment of dozens of women in the film industry, which sparked the hashtag #MeToo movement. Carol marveled at the bravery of these women, wrote a book titled "What Do We Need Men For? A Modest Proposal." In the book, she meticulously revealed the gory details of the attack at the hands of now President Trump. On 21st June 2019, New York Times published Carol's account of the ordeal. Just 3 days later, on June 24th, 2019, at an interview, Trump vehemently denied her account and said that she wasn't his type, while Carol's OG friends Lisa and Carol, on whom she had confided in, corroborated Carol's testimony. Trump, however, went on a barrage of insults. 3 years later, on October 12, 2022, after Trump was no longer president, he posted on his personal account on his social media platform, Truth Social, which was brought up at his deposition.
This, quote, Ms. Bergdorf-Goodman case is a complete con job, and our legal system in this country, but especially in New York State, is a broken disgrace.
He admitted to making the statement and then proceeded to denigrate E. Jean Carroll in poor taste, with statements such as, "The woman is not even my type." He continued giving unsavory reasons. He stated that she was too ugly to have been sexually assaulted by him. He even stated that she will not even be his first choice. He continued stating that she had no recollection of the day, week, month, year that they met, that she's just promoting her really crummy book. He also went after the justice system, stating that it was a broken disgrace. He thereafter asserted that he did not know her despite being pictured together. He summed it up that it was all a ploy to increase her book sales. All his reckless and false statements would land him smack dab in the broken disgrace justice system. As Carol sued Trump for defamation for his wanton remarks about her on his social media platform Truth Social that harmed her reputation, she also sued for battery of falsely being taken advantage of at the Bergdorf store, contrary to Article Article 30 of the New York Penal Law. She asserted her right to have a fair trial by a jury on all triable issues pursuant to Rule 38 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure. She argued that the court should order Trump to retract his defamatory statements and award her compensation damages. Trump, however, did not exercise his right to defend himself in the trial, and on 9th May 2023, the jury found Trump liable for battery and defamation and awarded $5 million in compensation to Ms. E. Jean Carroll. While the verdict elicited many reactions, here is one that matters.
What else can you expect from a Trump-hating, Clinton-appointed judge who went out of his way to make sure that the result of this trial was as negative as it could possibly be, speaking to and in control of a jury from an anti-Trump area, which is probably the worst place in the United States for me to get a fair trial?
We'll be appealing this decision. It's a disgrace.